Hello everyone and welcome to another installment in the 7 Wonders of Genshin series. Today, we'll be taking a look at some of the interesting locations around the nation of Geo, Liyue. There are so many wonderful and mysterious locations in this region, but I was able to pick out 7 for this video. So, with that said, let's jump right in. Starting off on our journey, we turn to the skies above Liyue Harbor. Here, you will find the illustrious Jade Chamber, residence of the Tianquan of the Liyue Qixing, Ningguang. The Qixing use this impressive floating abode in order to monitor all happenings in the region, and also use it as a symbol of their power in Liyue. The interior of the chamber is quite beautiful as well, containing various antiques, scrolls, and all-around spectacular architecture. It also uses exceptionally rare materials to stay afloat, including Adepti sigils, wonder cores, and a form of plostrite known as Sunset Vermilionite. As for its origins, we have to focus back on Ningguang. When she was a young girl, she was not as rich and powerful as she is today. According to Zhang Li, she used to walk barefoot all the way from Yaoguang Shoal to the South Wharf, trying to sell her wares as she went. Over time, she was able to gain a good amount of money. She would use this money to begin construction of the Jade Chamber. It started out as the size of a small room, but would be expanded over time. These days, it has grown so large that it casts a shadow on all of Liyue Harbor in the moonlight. Ningguang still continues to hire skilled craftsmen to expand and refurbish the floating palace. At one point, the Jade Chamber had to be completely rebuilt. During the Osail incident, Ningguang decided to sacrifice the Jade Chamber, sending it careening down onto the ancient god. As I said, it was eventually rebuilt, partially as a way to draw out Baixt, Osail's wife, and stop any threat that she could bring to Liyue Harbor. The Jade Chamber is the thing Ningguang loves second most in the world, with the first being Mora. She insists that one day it will grow so big that it will cast its shadow over all 7 nations of Teyvat. It is a symbol of her wealth and power, as well as a sign to her that her business is flourishing and Liyue is prospering. Staying in the area of Liyue Harbor, we move on now to the mountains surrounding the city on the north and west. This mountain is called Mount Tianheng, and it stands tall and proud over the harbor city of Liyue. It was raised by the Geo Archon Morax when he first descended upon Liyue 6,000 years ago. Due to its age, the mountain has quite a storied history. After Morax raised the mountain, people began to congregate around it. They would mine ore from the mountain and establish a place known as Shanhui Fort. Eventually, Morax would ally with the goddess of dust Guizhong, and they moved their people north of Mount Tianheng to form the Guili Assembly, which I will talk about later in this video. During the Archon War, a battle began between Morax and an opposing god. This battle nearly ended up toppling Mount Tianheng, but it was saved by the Adeptus Skybracer. He had an Adeptus friend chop off his horns, which were given to him by Morax and contained divine power. He then used them to prop up the mountain, making it even taller than it was before. Skybracer continued to fight in the battle against the opposing god, but would eventually succumb to blood loss and exhaustion due to losing his horns. It is said that the blood he lost would eventually become the Bishui River. Around this time as well, the Guili Assembly would fall due to the death of Guizhong. With the help of the god of the stove Marchosius and the Adepti, Morax would lead the people of the assembly down south of Mount Tianheng. Here, they would establish Liyue Harbor, which, over its 3,700-year history, would become the greatest commercial port in all the 7 nations of Teyvat. If you look out towards the sea while standing in Liyue Harbor, you are almost certain to see a certain archipelago of spiked islands in the distance. This magnificent and breathtaking place is known as Guyun Stone Forest, and it is a testament to the true strength of the Geo Archon of Liyue. This archipelago was formed thousands of years ago during the Archon War. At some point, Morax engaged in battle against Osial, the Overlord of the Vortex. During the battle, Morax would send down countless stone lances against Osial, which would pin the Overlord of the Vortex to the bottom of the ocean, sealing him away. These stone lances would erode over time, leaving the magnificent jagged cliffs you can see on the archipelago today. Osial wasn't the only god who Morax sealed here though, as at the end of Act 1 of Zhongli's story quest, he says that he has sealed countless gods here with his spears. Focusing back on Osial though, he was at one point unsealed by Childe, the 11th of the Fatui Harbingers. The Fatui used sigils of permission to accomplish this, and Osial would once again rise to the surface, causing a huge storm to begin above Liyue. This storm could have destroyed Liyue Harbor had Osial not been stopped. After a battle with the Liyue Qixing, the Adepti, and the Traveler, Osial would once again be sealed underneath Guyun Stone Forest, after Ningguang dropped the first Jade Chamber on him. The chamber was incredibly heavy, which contributed to the resealing, and due to the mechanisms inside, it created a huge explosion. Remnants of both the Jade Chamber and Osial's memories can now be found on the archipelago. According to the Lost Diary of the adventurer Rold, some people, including Rold himself, have witnessed Osial's memories as they slept on the islands. It is unknown what exactly causes this phenomenon, but it still adds to the wonder of this place. Osial was of course not the only sea monster who Morax faced during his time as the Geo Archon. Far north of Liyue Harbor lies a farming village known as Qingce Village. This is a beautiful and quiet location, leading it to mostly be inhabited by the elderly and children, as young adults have been known to leave to work elsewhere. While Qingce Village is beautiful, it is not the next wonder. Just west of Qingce Village, you may find a cave behind a waterfall. This place is known as the Vault of Qingce. It has some mysterious ties to the Qi. The Qi were ancient sea monsters who lived in Liyue a long time ago, but have since either been killed or fled the nation. The name Qingce actually was the ancient Liyuan word for Qi. Additionally, there are many legends surrounding a certain Qi that Morax killed in the area of Qingce Village, including that the corpse of the monster became Mount Qingce. However, Zhongli himself confirms that the mountain was there prior to the death of the Qi. Getting back to the vault though, this place contains many giant formations of crystalline orange Adeptus Amber, which help suppress the power of the Qi. The vault also houses a mysterious and giant mechanism that supposedly has some relation to the Qi, with it most likely also being there to suppress the Qi's power. This mechanism is known as the Qingce Cache, and during the world quest, The Qi of Yore, the Traveler ventured into the vault and defended the mechanism from multiple ruin machines that were in the area. Why exactly the automatons were attacking the mechanism is unknown. There is also a treasure room located in the vault, with multiple chests, a Seelie, and even a Geoculus. The fact that this vault is hidden away in a quiet corner of Liyue, combined with the mystery of the Qingce Cache and its purpose, led me to adding this mysterious wonder to the list. Ancient gods and sea monsters were not the only ones who Morax had to seal away though. Sometimes, he needed to seal away his friends. Within Nantianmen in western Liyue, you can find a massive tree known as the Dragon Queller. This is where Morax sealed Azhdaha, a giant bishop who he once knew as a friend. Azhdaha was a being who once resided underground, but was eventually brought to the surface by Morax. He allowed Azhdaha to live above ground, so long as he did not bring harm to Liyue or its people. Azhdaha agreed, but after thousands of years, his mind was faced with erosion, and he rampaged inside the chasm. After a long battle with Morax and the Adepti, Azhdaha was beaten, and subsequently taken to Nantianmen to be willingly sealed. The Dragon Queller has helped to keep the seal on him, but over hundreds of years, the seal has weakened. In his efforts, Azhdaha has begun to merge with the Great Tree, connecting to the ley lines and drawing power from them. This, combined with the blue highlights on the tree, could give it some connection to Irminsul, though it does lack the signature white bark. Anyways, after a long time of waiting and forgetting that he was sealed away willingly due to erosion, he attempted to break free from underneath the Dragon Queller. However, his efforts were stopped by the Traveler, Zhongli, and a benevolent part of his consciousness that broke through the seal. As a result, he remains sealed below the Great Tree. While it is a beautiful sight, it is advised by the Adepti that you do not disturb the tree, as the evil dragon still lies below it. To the west of the main ruins of the Guili Assembly, you can find a place known as Kujue Slope. As you enter this area, you will notice that the sky will suddenly turn dark and gray, being shrouded by a mysterious dark fog. If you look out towards other areas outside of Kujue Slope, you will notice that they have an unnaturally dark appearance as well. Beyond this strange darkness, you will also find the 9 Pillars of Peace here. According to the inscription on the stone tablet in the center of the area, these pillars were erected to keep 9 human desires at bay. These desires are greed, nostalgia, vision, jealousy, anger, lust, self-aggrandizement, competition, and turmoil. After collecting the 9 Stones of Remembrance from leveling up the Liyue statues of the 7, you can venture into the temple in the center of this area. You will have to face both rune machines and bishops in here, and as a reward, you can find a dull ring, which can be sold for some more in Liyue Harbor. Now then, I'd like to quickly get back to talking about the mysterious dark fog that surrounds the area. It has been theorized that this dark fog is actually a giant cloud of dust, and that Kujue Slope is where Guizhong, the goddess of dust, died. This area would have been part of the Guili Assembly, and Guizhong was said to have died somewhere within the assembly. Additionally, it is said that during the battle where Guizhong died, black dust choked the heavens, which is of course similar to the black dust that blocks out the sky and shrouds distant locations. Once again, Kujue Slope has not been confirmed as the place where the goddess of dust died, but it is a likely candidate. Speaking of the goddess of dust though, the last wonder on this list is the Guili Assembly. As I said earlier, the Guili Assembly was ruled by both Guizhong and Morax, who had an alliance. They also had help from other gods, such as Marchosius, and the Adepti, such as Cloud Retainer. Because of the 2 great rulers and the help that they had, the civilization flourished, with Guizhong teaching the people how to farm and guiding them through wisdom, while Morax defended the area with help of the Yaksha. The nation was quite a prosperous one, and it covered a vast amount of land. Like I just mentioned, Kujue Slope was a part of the territory under the rule of the Guili Assembly, but it went much farther than that. Its borders were Stone Gate in the north, Jueyun Karst in the west, Mingyun Village in the east, and what would be the entrance to Liyue Harbor in the south. However, this great civilization would come to an end as the Archon War began. In a battle 3,700 years ago, in the Guili Assembly, Guizhong would be killed by an opposing god, and would say goodbye to Morax amidst a field of glaze lilies. Her form would then dissolve into the finest dust. If you want to know more about Guizhong's backstory, I recommend my recent video on her. Anyways, after Guizhong's death, Morax, along with Marchosius and the Adepti, would lead the people of the assembly south of Mount Tianheng, where, as I mentioned earlier, they would build the city of Liyue Harbor. And those are 7 of Liyue's wonders. There are so many interesting places in Liyue, so it was hard to narrow it down. Keep in mind that this video only included places from version 1.0 Liyue, and that the Chasm and Chenyu Vale will each have their own separate videos at some point. I may also eventually make a second part to the Liyue 7 wonders though, seeing as there are so many more wonders in this region. I'd love to hear what parts of Liyue and other regions you'd like to hear me talk about in the comments below as well. Anyways, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Sources and further readings are also in the description if you want to check them out. I hope you all have an amazing day, and I'll see you all in the next video.